All right, what's going on, everybody? So, April 18th, we have some amazing special guests. I'm going to keep this short and sweet on my part. I do not want to talk very much. My name is Brian Rhodes. I got started in this about 35 days ago. I got introduced to Billy Womack and basically blew my mind in 30 minutes of talking to him to where I was like, you can't unsee this. I was like, I would be silly. I would cry later on because I didn't buy a couple of these nodes and diversify into this. So, the more I did research on it, the more I looked at everything, basically did due diligence as fast as I could, which was about 5 hours worth hiding in the closet because I have three kids, and did whatever I could to learn all I could learn and was like, I'm all in. And, in that short period of time, I've helped quite a bit of people join, made a really high uh, uh, about 40 something K just sharing it on the commission side. Obviously, the nodes are accumulating their digital rewards and was just blown away by how much the company pays, how much support is there, how great support, like just talking to support, and then working with Billy. And I had the pleasure to meet Ryan. And then Ryan is on a different team. I've been working with Ryan. Yes, we are team Connect United. So it's not about who's on what team. And Ryan's like, hey, I got a Zoom. I jumped on his Zoom. Tony blew me away. So I was like, can you get Tony on? So I know Billy's gonna speak. I don't know, kind of Tony and Billy might bounce off each other here, but so Ryan, I'll let you introduce yourself for a second and then introduce Tony. But thanks for being on tonight. I got this recorded and excited to hear all this information.
Hey, you bet, Brian. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for taking some time here on a Thursday evening. I guess it could be a different day depending on if you're listening from another country. But my name's Ryan Lelf. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been involved about the same amount of time as Brian has, maybe a few days. I think it was like March 11th or March 12th. A friend of mine named Brian Carruthers, who's kind of a legend in the networking space. He's done very, very well. He's been with one company for 26 years. He's made over $30 million. Him and I have just become acquaintances over the last few years and just someone I have a lot of respect for. So when he reached out to me, I had been kind of on the sidelines from different entrepreneurial ventures for 5 or 6 months. I was just kind of doing my podcast and playing a lot of pickleball and taking care of my 4 kids, hanging out with my wife. And he said, look, man, I got to introduce you to this guy named Tony Swantek. And I said, okay. He said, it's in the crypto blockchain space. I know that's, an area you have a ton of interest in. You're always talking about it. And I said, yeah, sure. He said, look, Tony's one of the most successful people I know, a very, very high net worth. He's been, very successful in traditional business. He's built multiple companies, multiple brands of, a billion plus. And you got to hear this. And I said, great. So me and my oldest son, Addison, who's also really, really smart and into crypto and stuff, I had him jump on with me. We got to spend about 2 hours with Tony. He kind of went through everything, let us ask all of our questions. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I really understood every single component of what he went over that day. It was the first time I'd ever been introduced to this idea of nodes. But I got off that call and I know my son understood all of it. I mean, he understands all the terminology, layer 1, layer 2, web 3, he gets it. And so my son and I have definitely explored a lot of things over the last few years, and some of them have not turned out to be legit or real. And so I looked at my son and my son just said, Dad, this is no joke. Like this is big time. This is legit. It's real. And you need to pay a lot of attention to that. So 2 days later, I booked flights for me and my wife. And within a week, we were in Puerto Rico spending 7 days, pretty much all day, every day at Tony's house, on Zooms with him, sharing meals together. He introduced me to the curator, the guy that's, kind of behind all of this, that's put in over $500 million of his own money, the guy that was behind Gala Games. And within a week, I went from just feeling excited to having enough knowledge to know that this was going to change my life and my family's life forever. And it got my wife introduced enough to it that she could sense the same thing. And so ever since, man, came home and we've just kind of been doing everything we know to do to spread the word. to get people to learn about this, to put tools in their hands, and to just let them know that, hey, I know there's a lot of things out there, and I know a lot of people are hitting you up about different stuff, and I know maybe you've had some things not work out for you in the past, but if you can do something for me, if you can just be present and just try to let go of any other moment in your entire human life and just be here for this moment and listen to this man, Tony Swantek, explain to you why he got so involved heavily in the last 6 months, why he set aside some billion-dollar companies and brands and are letting his business partners and employees and everybody else kind of run those, and why he's putting in 10 and 12 and 15-hour days and the impact that we can make in the world because of where stuff's headed. So you guys are in for a great treat. Everybody that knows Tony that I ran into, funny thing is, I'd actually met Tony a year ago through pickleball, and we had forgotten about that. And then when we got reintroduced, we remembered. Everybody in the pickleball community that I know that knows Tony says, man, always been a person of integrity. Everybody has great admiration for him, tremendous respect. He's got an unbelievable reputation and name here in the Wichita, Kansas area, which is about 2 hours from where I live. And so I'm betting on Tony. Tony's betting on himself. His track record speaks for that. And then when he kind of goes through the presentation and you get to see what it is that we're doing, the future is right now. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over. Mr. Tony Swantek, thank you so much for being on tonight. And we're excited to hear from you.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for the kind introduction. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Wonderful,
sir.
wonderful. Awesome. Well, I will run through a quick overview. I don't want to take a ton of time because we do have a good friend of mine that is joining us as well. We got to spend a lot of time together in Kauai over the last week, and he's somebody that's been involved in this ecosystem and this project for several years. And I actually heard about this ecosystem back in 2017. And then I met with a buddy of mine, Tomas Perez, and he's been in the crypto space for quite a while, 9-figure money earner, did really well in cryptocurrency for sure. And he talked to me about this project called Gala Games. And I didn't know what it was really. I met with him. I met with this guy, Wright, and they were building this decentralized gaming platform, which didn't mean a lot to me. I had been involved in crypto, but just more buying crypto. Like I just bought Bitcoin and bought Ethereum, and I did pretty well buying crypto, I guess. I started buying Bitcoin at maybe $210 a coin. And I just thought it was a good idea. I thought it was undervalued, and I've never sold it. I kept buying it. The last big purchase I did one at 40,000 a coin, and I did another one at 69,000 a coin. And I've been buying and just holding it, and hopefully it keeps going up, over the next few years. But with this Gala project, he was like, it's this decentralized gaming platform. And he goes, you need to buy these nodes. And I remember asking him, I was like, what's a node? And he's like, it's like you're renting like your computer power, you're leasing it to this company so it can run its business. And I go, what do they pay? And he goes, well, they pay you these Gala tokens. And this was 2018. This is a while ago. And I go, well, what is a Gala token worth? And at that time he said, nothing, and I go, well, this sounds amazing. So you're going to borrow my computer power and pay me in magic internet money that's not worth anything. I was like, where do I sign up? And he goes, yeah, but he goes, listen, if a bunch of people start playing the games, then that token will be very valuable. And I was like, okay, I was interested. And so I was going to buy, at that time, I was just going to put 10 grand into these nodes, like this node software. And I was supposed to call him back in a few weeks. And I honestly got busy. I think back to what I was doing at that time. I had a restaurant delivery service, kind of like Uber Eats or DoorDash, but we were an Inc. 500 company in 2020, but we had actually exited a third of that business back in 2018. And it was multi-millions of dollars. It was a really good exit. And we were finalizing that. And then we were working on a merger for the other 2/3 of that company with a company called delivery.com. And that was a multi-million-dollar deal. And so I was busy with that. And I honestly just forgot to call him back. And I fast forward about a year and a half, he had made another 100, 200 million off the Galvin project, something like that. And I'm like, how could I be that busy that I couldn't make a 10-minute phone call to my buddy and buy those nodes? And I asked him, it's funny because I went back and I was like, well, like, how much Gala tokens would I have gotten if I'd have had those nodes, and what would that have been worth? We kind of did the math, and he goes, depending on when you would have sold, he's like, somewhere probably between $5 and $10 is what you could have been looking at. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot, like I should have made the phone call, and so that's one of those things. But I think we've all been there, right? We've been at the right place at the right time, but just didn't put it together. Like, didn't know we were there, didn't take action, whatever it might be, and I missed. And so October of last year, he called me, and we own other businesses together. We have a software company out of Dubai, so we talk quite a bit. But he said, hey, the guys that started the Gala ecosystem, he's like, they've got these like 12 new projects they're getting ready to launch to the world. Some of them they've been working on for a few years, some of them are brand new. And I was like, all right, where do I need to see it? Like, where do we need to go? And I was going to be in Vegas, and he goes, listen, we'll come to Vegas and we'll share this information. And I want to share this information with you guys. And like I said, I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. And you can connect with whoever invited you onto tonight's webinar to get more of the details. I'm still admitting people as they're coming in as well. But you can get more of the details from whoever shared this information with you. So can you guys see my screen okay? Thumbs up, Brian, Ryan, you guys see the screen? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to share a quick slideshow. I don't want to get too in depth because, like I said, I want to hear from Billy myself as well. He's a good friend of mine. I do know his story, but I want you guys to know his story as well because it's pretty amazing. But this ecosystem, when I first looked at it, obviously Gala was a part of their ecosystem, and they're launching these new projects. And really what they've done is they've created what we call proof of action protocols that tie to real world revenue and solve real world problems, which is something that is not really happening in the blockchain space right now. And if you're new to blockchain, the easiest way for me to explain it is if you look at the internet as in a simplified form, it's a way to transfer information freely between individuals, real time, without needing to wait on a third party. I remember growing up, like if I wanted to know, I'm getting ready, I fly to Palm Beach. We have an event in Palm Beach, which you're all invited. We'll send you maybe in the chat or something, the information. It's in Palm Beach, Florida on Saturday. And I fly out tomorrow, and I have no idea what the weather is out there. Could be Florida, it rains a lot, could be really hot and humid. I don't know, but I'm going to look on my phone and find out probably, tonight sometime before I pack and figure out what I should pack, how should I dress? And I remember as a kid, like, you couldn't do that. Like you could get your local news to give you the weather for your local city, but finding out what it was doing in Florida, you could wait for the national weather and kind of get a little bit of an idea of the high and the low. But I can get the hourly. Like I'll know what is going to rain when I'm landing there or when I get out. Like I'll know the weather. You could tell me whether it's raining in Tokyo right now, right? Like the internet allows us to have access to that free flow of information. Blockchain allows the free flow of value to pass between individuals. Way more secure than centralized internet. I'm not going to get too in depth into that, but imagine if I wanted to work a business project with all of you, and we decided, hey, we're all going to put, $100 grand into this project each. If I needed to wire your bank account money right now, if I said, all right, I'm gonna send some money to Ryan, I can't do it. Like my bank's closed. It's nighttime here. I know I saw some of the names I recognize. I know there's Australians here. Your banks are probably just getting ready to open. But for me, my bank's closed, not going to open till tomorrow. I would need to get Ryan's bank information, his routing number and account number. And then tomorrow morning, I could go to the bank and initiate the wire. And then, if it's international wire, it might be a few more days before it hits. They're going to charge me $60, whatever. If it was Bitcoin and Ryan said, hey, just send me Bitcoin instead, I can do that right now. While we're on the meeting, I could literally send him 100 grand worth of Bitcoin, and the transaction would be done in a few minutes. And it might cost $1. You know what I mean? Like I've done I've done a 7-figure transaction that cost me like $1.49 or something like that in transaction fees. And it's just way more efficient. And that's the beauty of blockchain. It's the fastest adopted technology in history of planet Earth. And even Elon Musk says it's a far better way to transfer values than just a piece of paper. And as I go through our project, if you go, listen, this is something I'm really interested in, you can become a node owner like I did, like Brian did, like Ryan did, like Billy did, Danny. I've seen a few other folks that I know are node owners. And you could also help others come into the network and purchase nodes as well. That helps the blockchain work. It helps us run our network. And the best analogy I've heard of what is a node, think about a cell phone tower. If you look at like a farm, you know, they've got land where there's towers built on them. The companies that like Verizon and AT&T, they don't buy the entire farm and build a cell tower. They lease a little parcel of land, and then every month they build that tower. Every month they pay that farmer for saying, hey, thanks for letting us host our network on your land. And here's money, here's money. What we do is we basically say, if you purchase this software, you can load it onto your laptop, you can load it onto a hard drive. I host mine in the cloud. There's companies that basically will just host the software for you. And as long as it's working and turned on for at least 6 hours a day, they send you rewards for basically letting them run their network on your computing power. And if you wanted to buy nodes, I'm not going to go through the whole disclaimer. I'm going to simplify it. There's no guarantees, right? Like I could have bought those Galvin nodes in 2018, and if nobody ever played those games, they'd be worth, like the tokens they printed would be worthless. There'd be no value to them. I couldn't sell them because nobody would want to buy them. That didn't happen with Gala. I saw the other day, like it was a few days ago, the daily volume in trading for Gala was $427 million that day. So it's like if I would have had $5 million worth of Gala tokens, I could sell them that day. Like there was $427 million worth of them flying, you know, like it would have been a pretty easy thing to exit. It's a very liquid token. And the cool thing, well, I guess not as cool for me, but for guys like Billy that had Gala tokens years and years ago, their Gala nodes that were printing tokens 5 years ago are still printing Gala tokens today as we're talking. And so it's just creating that magic internet money, so to speak. Now, at the end of the day, are there projects that maybe won't have value? Sure. Are there projects that may be bigger than Gala? I believe so. But there's no guarantees. There's no promises. So I always tell folks, if you put money into nodes, and I've put a lot of my money into nodes, I've personally invested over $54 million into purchasing nodes. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, but I'm very bullish on these projects. But as I say that, I do want people to understand like that. I didn't sell any of my real estate. I didn't sell any of my oil wells. I didn't sell any of my businesses or companies. I still have a very diversified portfolio. I didn't sell any stocks. I did sell, I had oil well exploration money that I used to kind of do drilling, which is very high risk. I took all the money out of that to get into nodes. And then I had cash sitting in US treasuries that was just sitting there. And I wasn't using it. I wasn't going to use it. And I took a pretty good chunk. I think I had maybe 27 million or something in US treasuries that were just sitting there and I didn't need it. And I say that to let you know, like if you purchase nodes, don't take out a second mortgage to do it. I think that would be absolutely bonkers. This is Vegas money, right? Like the difference is if I strike oil on one of my oil exploration projects, you know, you're looking to get 5-10x on your money. It's great. Gala was like 500x or 1,000x for some people. So the upside is absolutely amazing, but the downside is zero. So you need to understand that going into this game. Now, we do have a legal team that's Decentralized Blockade. They are our decentralized law firm. They're basically making sure that we're following the rules, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Ken Cuccinelli is the lead advisor. He was the former attorney general for the state of Virginia. He was the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security for the United States of America for several years. And so having somebody like that in our team, making sure we're coloring inside the lines, very few projects in the blockchain space have a firepower legal team like we do to make sure we're doing things the right way. The projects are what really got me excited. The first project, I got to meet with Dr. Adam Sharp. He was pretty high up over at Kaiser Permanente out in California. But he shared with me the Galvin project, which was basically allowing us as individuals to take control over our own health and wellness. Imagine having an app you could download. You could attach a wearable to it. It will listen to your voice. It uses Amazon Alexa AI technology, and it will basically look at over 2,500 voice inflections, and it can tell you whether you're higher energy than normal or lower energy, whether you're higher stressed or lower stressed, just by talking to it for 20 seconds. And once it tells you, hey, you're a little low energy today, it'll give you things to do to increase your energy level. And if you do it, it will reward you in Gala tokens. It'll reward you for getting healthier. And then if you load your health data onto the blockchain, which imagine putting your health records on the blockchain, imagine putting your DNA on the blockchain, and you're the only one that has access to it. You can give a hospital access to it, a doctor access, but if you leave that hospital, you could pull your records away from it and say, hey, I don't want you having access. I'm going to send it to my new doctor. And that's the person that's going to have access to my health records. Imagine your DNA records. And if you wanted to, you don't have to, but you could share them anonymously with the community. They'd use AI to aggregate everybody's health data, which, you know, we've got whatever, a couple hundred people on 194 right now on the overview. That's if we all put our health data on there and shared it anonymously, no big deal. Like, not that exciting. Now, Galvin would give us tokens for sharing. They would literally pay us to share our health data. But what if we had millions of users? What if we had 100 million users? What if we had 1 billion users? At that user count, you would eliminate rare disease from the planet. Like if your neighbor had a daughter with a rare disease and we had 100 million users on Galvin that all agreed to share their data and let AI congregate and aggregate that data, because that's impossible right now. All the health records are so fractured, you can't get all that data together. But if we did that and AI analyze it, you would tell that neighbor's daughter, hey, just download the app, load your health records, load your DNA records, and then within a nanosecond, the AI would analyze everything, and it would probably come back and go, you know what, this isn't that rare of a disease. There's 3,822 people in our database that have the exact same symptoms, the exact same diagnosis. And actually, these 723 individuals across 3 different continents used this treatment procedure to great success. AI is recommending that you get with your current physician, let them know this information, share this data with them, and see if they'd be open to starting the treatment procedure that all these other people have used to find success. So that's the goal, really, is to create a community where we control our own health and wellness. Grow is another one of my favorite projects. There's 7 farms that are already a part of Grow. The largest regenerative farm in the United States of America, Royal Ranch out of Washington State, is one of our larger partners. But I have a local farm. I'm in Kansas right now, but I live in Puerto Rico. And my house in Puerto Rico is 7 minutes away from one of the local Grow farms there in Dorado, Puerto Rico. And what Grow is all about is giving us as consumers the power to understand what we're eating, to know what we're putting in our body. And as crazy as that sounds, when you really think about it, there's really about 10 companies that kind of control about everything we eat and put in our bodies on a daily basis. And a lot of these companies fall under conglomerates like Cargill, Monsanto. But if you think of Kellogg's, Mondelez, which was Kraft, General Mills, Unilever, if you're in, South America, they add, I would say, a lot more chemicals than real nutrition to our foods. And who knows what was put into it, where it came from, how it was processed. What Grow does is it allows us to know all of that. Imagine ordering a steak at a restaurant, getting a QR code that comes with the steak. You download the app, you snap a picture of the QR code, and it comes up and it says, hey, Brian, This is, because it's your app, it would know who you are. I would say, Brian, this is cattle number 1176459 from Royal Ranch Farms in Washington State. Certified organic free range Angus, never been injected with hormones, never been injected with any steroids. This cow grazed on 1,167.5 pounds of grass during its lifetime. It was processed right here at Royal Ranch 47 hours ago. It's never been frozen. We refrigerated it, shipped it refrigerated, and now 47 hours later, it's there for you to enjoy. And if you like that steak, you could actually order it direct from Royal Ranch. And it would be cheaper than going to the grocery store. And the farmers would actually make more profits because they could cut out the commodities market. They could cut out Monsanto, Cargill, Kraft, all these huge conglomerates that peel off a bunch of their profits. So it's a win-win for the consumer and for the farmer, and giving us the power to know what we're eating. Fruits, vegetables. The Grow Farm, I have Grow nodes, so I help them run their network, and I get Grow tokens for doing that. I can go to the Grow Farm. They have a grocery store set up there. I can buy eggs, bacon, milk, fruits, vegetables, steak, chicken, pork, like everything that they source there and raise there at that farm, and I can check out with my token. You can pay with a credit card if you want, but literally, I just use my tokens. So I can use cryptocurrency to feed my family. That's real world utility. That's not something you can do easily with Bitcoin. Like grocery stores don't take Bitcoin. You know, restaurants don't take Bitcoin. We have farmers that you can use your token and order food directly and feed your family. That's a game changer in the blockchain space. We have Element. Scott Lomu is a friend of mine. That's really a blockchain that's designed around letting consumers know that the minerals that they're buying, the gold, the jewelry, the smartphones with, you know, the battery, the lithium batteries, that everything we're buying, if it was a rare earth mineral, it was mined ethically. And then when that mine was depleted, they came in behind it to reclaim the land. They planted mangrove trees. They backfilled it with farmable soil. And so many people don't realize, like, I can almost guarantee if you have one of these, there's some component in it that a child mined for it. I'd almost guarantee it, that someone that was probably 11 years old dug up something out of the earth that's in one of your smartphones, all of us. Now, if we had a choice, if there was a blockchain certificate that you bought lithium, and if you did, if it had that certificate, you know that that mine was open to a 24/7, 365-day-a-year audit. At any time, they could be audited to make sure that only adults were mining. No one was mining under duress. No one was sitting there digging at gunpoint. And you could make sure that each mine that was depleted by that company, they came in behind it and reclaimed the land. I think if we all could choose to make sure that no children mined the components of our smartphones, we would choose to get the adult mined smartphones. You know, I think it's a no-brainer, and that's what Element's allowing us to do. This is one of the main reasons I got involved in the project with Switch. Not necessarily because of the wallet itself, which it was the best cryptocurrency wallet on the planet. They let me get in on the beta, and I was shocked. Like, I literally used my credit card to buy Bitcoin that day, right then and there. And I moved the Bitcoin into a cold wallet, and it took me 5 minutes. From the time I was starting to set up my account to the time I moved Bitcoin into my own wallet, 5 minutes later, done. That might not sound like a big deal to you if you're not in the crypto space. What I would challenge you to do is buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin on Coinbase right now, and then move it to a different wallet. I'd imagine it's going to be about 3 weeks before you can do that. It's just not very easy to get access to crypto. Switch fixes that problem. And it's a non-custodial wallet. If they went out of business tomorrow, I'd still have all my crypto that I put into that wallet. I could just grab a cold wallet, recover it, and get all my crypto back. Then they have a Switch Visa card. Actually, I have it in my room, my wallet. I should bring my wallet to these meetings so I can pull it out. But I have a Visa card through Switch that if I want to put that Bitcoin in a custodial wallet, I can set it up to use Bitcoin. So if I went to a restaurant and swiped my card for $100, it would sell $100 worth of Bitcoin and pay off that debit card right then and there. It would allow someone like my mom to use Bitcoin, which she has Bitcoin because I've been buying it for a long time, and I usually give Bitcoin away for Christmas for my family and stuff. And so among some other gifts, but I do usually give some cryptocurrency. And so she's had it. But if you said, hey, you know, your mom needs to send me some Bitcoin for a project we're working on, she could send you, like, you could send her your wallet to her. She'll never be able to send you Bitcoin. Like, unless I'm sitting beside her, she's not going to figure it out. But if you said, hey, just give me your Visa card number, she knows how to use your credit card. So that's what I love about Switch. It's an easy on ramp and off ramp to bring people in that have never dealt with crypto before, have no idea how to set up wallets or any of that stuff, and they can literally use cryptocurrency not knowing anything about cryptocurrency. And the lady that was the CEO, when I first saw her walk into the room, I remember I looked at my buddy who was there, and I own a credit card processing company that's pretty good size. We do about $4 to $5 billion a year in transactions. And I just told him, I was like, hey, I was like, whatever she's doing, we need to pay real close attention, and we should probably be doing it. And he was like, who is that? And I was like, it's Kathy Roberts. I was like, she is one of the founders of Discover, and she was the president of Discover Bank. I knew her because of my credit card transactions background. She didn't know me. I mean, I was just a peon, but I knew who she was. And I just said, man, listen, when it comes to banking, there's nobody better. Like, there's nobody better on the planet. And she has created because of her network and her knowledge, she's created the best crypto wallet on planet Earth. And it is not even close. She just built a better mousetrap. And we can be a part of what she's doing, and we can benefit financially because of it. Rev is our car blockchain. Revo Rideshare is one of the first projects that are on that blockchain. And what I love about Rev is it's already operational. I think so many crypto projects over the years, I know I talked to Ryan about this, but it's like, you have so many people that it's like, oh, we've got this ICO, this new token, and we've got this idea, and they're working out of their mom's basement, you know, and the idea never comes out to fruition. And maybe they never planned on bringing it to fruition. Maybe they just wanted to sell tokens and make money. We don't have an ICO. The only way tokens are generated is if you have a node, or if you're a proof of action rewards recipient. If you have a node that's running the network, you get tokens. In Rev, if you're a driver or a rider, you get tokens. And we're already operational in Miami, Palm Beach, Jupiter, Florida, New Orleans, and more cities are getting ready to launch. And what's great is our average rider is paying about 10 to 20% less than the exact same ride on Uber or Lyft. The drivers on average are making 30 to 40% more than the exact same ride that they'd be driving on Uber and Lyft. And so imagine I pick you up. Let's say I'm one of the drivers for Rev and you need a ride. You book it and it says, hey, it's $50, long ride going to the airport. With Uber, it'd be 60 or 70 with Lyft. So it's $50. But if you use the Rev token, it's only 45. So you can save $5. Well, who wouldn't want to save $5? And what's cool is with one click, because of Switch, you can click and buy the Rev token, use a credit card. Now you just save money on your ride. Then you get in the car, because that's a revenue generating activity, you get more tokens. When I pick you up as the driver, I get real money, like Web2 money, like dollars, you know, I'm gonna get money in my bank account, but I also get tokens, Rev tokens, because I picked you up, that's a revenue generating activity. When I'm dropping you off, if you give me a tip, they give you more tokens, because we want to incentivize the people to tip good drivers. If you give me a tip, I get more tokens, because I must have done a good job driving or you wouldn't have tipped me. Then if you give me a rating, you get more tokens. We want to incentivize you to give a rating to the driver. If you give me a 5-star rating, I get more tokens. If I give you a rating as a rider, I get tokens. If I give you 5 stars, you get more tokens. Now, again, not a lot of value to the tokens. Brand new project. Not many people riding yet. We're only in 4 cities. But what happens if 6 months from now, we're in 400 cities around? What if we have millions of people riding and driving? Now those tokens, as cool as Gala is and playing games on your phone, and I can buy a cow from you and then sell my dragon to somebody else from a different game. And obviously it worked. It's huge. There's a ton of money there. But I think it's cooler, instead of buying a cow on a game, to actually buy a steak that I can feed my family. I think it's better than, you know, buying a car on a game, to actually call and get a ride, to use my app and get a real ride in the real world to where I need to go. That's a better use case and real world utility for blockchain than anything I've ever seen. And so you can benefit as the network grows. And if you have a node that's helping to manage that network, hey, your node could be going, hey, Tony's here, he's a driver, he has an SUV, here's a rider, they're requesting an SUV. There's 10 other SUV drivers near, but Tony's the closest. Let's see if he'll accept that ride. And I do accept it. And then that node will put us together and log everything on the blockchain. What if you referred me as a driver? You make real Web 2 money. Let's say you're making $1 every ride I do. Not that big of a deal, but the average driver will do 20 rides in a night. You make 20 bucks. You got 10 drivers, making a couple $100 just because you referred drivers into our network that are doing a bunch of rides. On top of that, you'll be getting the crypto token. You'll be getting Rev token over and over and over again as I'm doing rides. So there's value to help us grow the community. Rally is the last project I'll share, and then I'll wrap up. Rally is our video conferencing software. It'll be like Zoom. This should be one of the last Zooms we do. Actually, May 1st is our launch date for Rally. But imagine being able to get rewarded for doing meetings like this. Imagine getting rewarded for sharing your other business or your other company or this business with people, and you're getting crypto tokens. You're getting Rally tokens for sharing this ecosystem with people. And again, not that many users probably on May 1, but maybe by the end of May, we got a lot of users. Maybe by June, July, August, got hundreds of thousands of users. Maybe we end up with millions of users. That token could be extremely, extremely valuable. And what's cool is if I was doing meetings on Rally and generating tokens and I shared Rally's software with others and they downloaded it, and there's a free instance you can use. But if you want to pay for it because you want to do more than 45-minute long meetings, or you want to be able to show, bells and whistles that we have, you can pay, and it's cheaper than Zoom. The Zoom would be the same price if you paid for Zoom the whole year up front. But if you do month to month, we're cheaper. You'd have to pay the whole year up front for Zoom to match our price for month to month. So it's cheaper. It's better because it rewards you. And if you're not familiar with blockchain, if you're not familiar with how the concept could work, what I would tell you is this. Think of it like airline miles or Amex points. Like, it creates loyalty to the customer. And I use my Amex as much as I can because I get points, and then I use them to buy stuff on Amazon. Actually, I connected my deal with Amazon. And so we want to give people rewards for using our ecosystem. Anyone that says, hey, this sounds really good, what's my next step? Whoever invited you on tonight's webinar, have them send you a link, sign up for free. I say sign up for free, start going through the compliance training, go through the academy, start to learn about the different projects. And then if you're interested in getting more involved, you can grab some nodes. You can say, hey, I want to help your network run. Let me buy some nodes. And again, each person's different. Some people go, I just want to buy one node. Maybe you don't want to buy any nodes. That's fine. You can refer 5 people who buy a Win node, and the algorithm will give you 1 free Win node. So you can get a node for free just by sharing the ecosystem with others. But I was not like that. I bought millions of dollars worth of nodes because I was just like, hey, I've seen this game it's played out before. I missed it last time. They won the Super Bowl, and I was drafted to be on the team, and I held out. I just decided not to play that year, which was a dumb move. Now I'm looking at the projects they have today. With Gala, there was like 7 developers. I flew out to Utah. They had 20,000+ square foot of office building, 200+ developers there working. And I was just like, man, they're way better now than they were when I first saw them back in 2017, 2018. I just wanted to become a part of the ecosystem. And the other thing that I loved about these projects is I knew I could move the needle. I knew I could help add customers to the meeting software. I could help add riders and drivers to the rideshare software. I could help add farmers into the Grow Network. I could help add doctors into the Galvin Health and Wellness Network. I knew I could help these projects move forward, which would help me with my token values. The more people that used it, the more real world utility there was, the more value for that token. I would tell you to figure out what projects you like the most, and those are the nodes you're going to want to purchase. you'd want to go, okay, I know I do a ton of meetings and I know a ton of people that do meetings. Great. Grab some rally tokens. Hey, I take Uber every day almost. All right, great. Look at the Rev project and start to help build that. Hey, I'm healthy. I'm health conscious. I watch what I eat. I think more people want to know what they're putting in their bodies. Great. Help support the Grow project. Get Grow nodes. And if you're healthy, grab a Galvin node while you're at it. So each project can kind of, satisfy each person's desire to succeed. The question is, which one really hits you? And for me, there were a few of them. And the Switch project was one I was really interested in. There was a bunch of projects, but at the end of the day, I look at each project and I think, which one can I impact the most? That's the one I want to come into. So that's really the nuts and bolts, guys. I don't want to go too much more